it's hard for women to access financing, but I think it's even doubly hard for Muslim women.
I'm not looking for investors just to make money. I'm looking for investors to grow what I'm passionate about. If my coming on board means dropping Hadiya, then I don't want it. Just like with every business, an Islamic business does have seasons. I have not always been driven by faith in my entrepreneurship journey. I know that politics and religion is touchy. So I accept the fact that people have guidelines. They don't want to seem like they're aligning with one religion and then they're not aligning with the other.
Tune in to hear Muslim women talking back like never before. This is the HSM TribeCast. Hi sis, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the HSM TribeCast, the podcast by Muslim women for Muslim women. My name is Khadija. Can faith and business coexist? In today's world of conscious consumerism, people are looking for more out of the brands that they patronize. They align with brands that take into account their values and their ethics. So, it's beyond what is driving the market these days. I have an exciting, amazing guest, if I do say so myself, to talk through business and faith and scaling for a market that's driven by faith consciousness in today's world. Oyinda Kazeem, welcome to the HSM TribeCast.
Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum. I'm really happy.
Too. Saying I think I'm more happy because I'm a LinkedIn fangirl and I've just been, wanting to test a little of what is in this mind of yours. So, thank you so much for coming today. For you guys who don't know, Oyinda is a strategist extraordinaire, but also founder of Hadiya Souq. You say inshallah, no, you're already there, claim it. But Oyinda is founder of Hadiya Souq Africa, formerly Hadiya NG, which is essentially a faith-driven marketplace for everything and anything that you're looking for in terms of Muslim vendors in Africa. So that's something exciting.
Yeah.
I do this thing where I just want to jump right into the conversation, but they're always reminding me we need to do the icebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 truths and a lie about Oyinda.
2 truths.
Do people mistakenly call you Hadiya instead of your name?
Not mistakenly. Everybody calls
because I was about to say 2 truths and a lie about Hadiya.
Everybody calls it. It's not even a mistake. Like, I have stopped correcting people. I go for Jum'ah. I'm in the airport and someone will just be, oh, hi, Hadiya.
Yeah.
Hello.
It just sounds like your name.
It's actually a name.
Yeah.
So, it's the Arabic word for gift. It's Hadiya.
Okay, yeah.
So, yes. So, so back to 2 truths and a lie.
Mm-hmm.
2 truths about me. I love kids. Sorry, 2 truths and a lie. I'm not saying that is the truth. I love kids. I dislike tardiness. And I'm a chatterbox. So
No, that's easy.
Is that easy?
You're definitely not a chatterbox. And I was going to, the reason I know you dislike tardiness is because, guys, Oyinda was like 2 hours early for this session. So it's really good in these days of African time. We've taken it as it's a if someone tells you 1, you know to expect them by 2. So it's actually really good.
When I worked in banking, like right after I got out of university, I did this SEO program in the UK. And I remember I was like an intern. It was target chances ahead.
Okay.
So I it was at Barclays Bank, and the first training, one of the first things they told us was that if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
Because if something is supposed to start at 12 and you get there by 12, it's already like it should be starting, so you shouldn't be getting there.
Yeah.
And I've just always held myself to that. So 15 minutes early is on time. It's actually not early.
Yeah.
And then when you get there on time, you're already late.
Yep.
So, and if you're going to be like communicate, because things happen, sometimes it's beyond your control, but
just manage expectations
and carry people along. So that's one thing that has always been a big pet peeve.
I'm a work in progress. I have my days. I'm late. I know that I'm usually late, but I have my days where, alhamdulillah. So Hadiya, and what was that journey like? Because you always talk about how I think that the reason why you're, like I said earlier on about fangirling on LinkedIn, you're one of the few visibly Muslim voices that I follow anyway on LinkedIn that are as, I won't say vocal, because when I say vocal, like what comes to mind is all those activists that carry megaphone. But I think that you're one of the visibly Muslim people who doesn't shy away from talking about faith as well as business and, you know, all of the things that people like to read on LinkedIn. And you've always been quite straightforward about how faith-driven you've been in your business journey. Was that something that was just like a no-brainer from the start, or like what point did you get to where you realized that these were two things that could exist at the same time for you?
I think, first of all, I think that's a very interesting observation, because even for myself as an individual, when I initially started writing on LinkedIn, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a bit skeptical being so vocal about Islam. But at the same time, as I've grown in my journey over the couple of years, I know that Islam is a way of life. Like, you can't separate it. So when you have people ask questions like put religion aside, if this happened, what would you do? I'm like, well,
how can you put it?
This is my way of life. So to answer your question, no, I have not. I have not always been driven by faith in my entrepreneurship journey. Okay. I started full-time entrepreneurship, I would say, in 2011. Hadiya is actually my third business. So I started with a photo booth company, which was the first automated photo booth company in Nigeria then. So my sister, myself, and our third partner, we sort of built that industry, and it has evolved now into like video booths that you see at weddings and 360 booths and all of that. So we were one of the first people to have that. So I've done businesses that are not related to faith at all. Then after that, I had a rental business as well, which is like an event rental company, which I still run, which still exists. And it wasn't until I became a mom that I started to think about things from a more spiritual side of things. So I've always been Muslim. I was born and raised in Kwara State, and my parents in Ilori. They raised us as Muslims. Exactly. So they raised us as Muslims, but they were very, like, they'd wake us up to pray Fajr. We had like private Quran teachers. So I've always been aware of Islam, but I was not visibly Muslim. So whilst we had that foundation of living our lives with ethics, we didn't necessarily, or I didn't necessarily grow up associating those ethics that my parents instilled in me to Islam. I just thought this is what it means to be a good person, good character. Yeah. And this is what isn't. So growing up, I tried to do that in my businesses, but I never like really identified as faith until I started my own personal spiritual journey. So, and I've grown in the past decade. Like, I bump into some of my ex-colleagues from my banking days, and when they see me, they're like, oh my God, I thought you'd be like the CFO of some private equity something somewhere by now. And
Fortune 500.
Exactly. So they can't believe it, especially even from being visibly Muslim, because I used to practice. I mean, then I used to work at Renaissance Capital, for example, which is a Russian investment bank. And so when it's time for Jum'ah, I would go for Jum'ah, but you would only know I was leaving the office to go and pray if you knew that I was Muslim and going to pray, because I didn't look Muslim, but I would always go to like that mosque by 1004 or law school. So whilst I was practicing and I tried to live from a character perspective to be a good person, I didn't necessarily relate it to Islam until I became a mother. And I think motherhood changes you in a way that it's, you in Islam, we say our children are an amanah unto us, so they trust unto you, and then you know that you have to raise them in a certain way,
because you'll be accountable.
You'll be accountable for it, so they're your responsibility. Like, you literally brought them into this world by the will of Allah, and for you to do that, you then start to think, how can I raise my children to have good character, to make a positive impact in the world? If the underlying principle is supposed to come from their faith, something has to be an anchor for them. They have to identify with something. And then in order to do that, I need to understand it to a point where I can teach that to my children. So then that's when I then became more, even more spiritual, and started to think, what are the things I can do that I need for my own parenting journey. And that's where Hadiya came to pass, because I then realized that I needed these resources for my 3-month-old. Then the first book I ever bought was Allah Made Everything, and I bought it from this Ibrahim Toy House store in London. And I was like, why do I have to get it from the UK? So I did my research, started talking to people around me, and everyone is like, actually, we do want these things, but we can't get them. So that's where the whole faith drive then came to play. And that's when I then sort of started to move more to becoming more of a faith-driven entrepreneur. So, yeah.
That's such a beautiful story, because, and there's a recurring theme here, because some last 1 or 2 episodes, someone actually said the same thing around the motherhood journey, and then how that's, pull her down her entrepreneurial path as well. So I think motherhood changes quite a lot of things, especially that your relationship with your faith. Well, what stuck with me was you saying that this is actually your third business. You'd had 2 prior that you started. I'm not be able to start one. Okay, I don't know. Can I call this a business?
It is, yes, of course. It is.
I'm struggling to start one. This is your third. Have you always been entrepreneurial minded, or like, where did that come from?
I think I have. Both my parents. So growing up, my father's a doctor, but he's always run his own private practice hospital. So in a way, he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then my mother, she runs a school now, but before she started running the school, this was more like towards her getting older and trying to slow things down. She was like a distributor for some of the biggest FMCG brands, so like Nestle, Cadbury, and Unilever in her region. And so she'd always run like stores, and she started her store from, those MTN kiosks that you see, those wooden ones where you can just recharge your cards.
Yeah.
So that's where she started selling provisions, and then she grew into having warehouses across Southwest Nigeria and becoming like the major distributor for all these guys. So then at home during the holiday, go to my mom's store, we'll help them with stock taking in the warehouse. I was like maybe 12, 13, 14. So she always involved us, and I always just found it interesting. And I mean, when you ask my parents, they will say that they could kind of see that the entrepreneurial drive in me, because our firstborn is a doctor, so he took after my dad, and then my sister is an accountant, and then I'm like the family entrepreneur. So yeah, in a way, I've always enjoyed being like actively trying to solve problems and just figuring out how things work. And even when I did work in the banking sector, I never really stayed in one place for long, because once I started to feel like, okay, this isn't challenging anymore, I would then go somewhere else. Yeah. So I guess it's that restlessness that I would say has always made me try to do something.
Yeah. But I picked 2 things from your mom's story that you just shared, because we put such emphasis, and again, this is something that has come through in one of the conversations that we've had in the past around impact.
Okay.
We put such emphasis on doing things in a big way.
Yeah.
I think that we underestimate the beauty in building from wherever it is that you are. No, imagine from that MTN kiosk to owning warehouses. That's a journey I don't think that can be taught.
No.
Especially with I think I like saying young people as if I'm old, especially with my generation and even younger ones. We just want to do things quick and blow. But what was that experience like for you, watching her just her own growth journey, and how did that impact you as well when you started your own business?
Honestly, then as a child, I just all I knew was my mom really works hard. And then maybe this holiday I'm visiting her store and it's this big, and then 2 years later she's like twice the size. And I just saw it growing, but I never paid much attention as a young child. I'm not going to try and be as if I was one of those young kids that was already seeing ahead.
Yeah.
But something struck me. I mean, when I started the rental company, I used to live in Jakonde, and I started with a room in my apartment then. And KFA rentals, right?
Yeah.
KFA is in Jakonde. Like,
I usually see them on the Express.
Jack on the Express. Okay. So imagine, Cafe is like, the business was started by the parents and then they handed it over to the kids. So I lived there and I had like a room much smaller than this where I just had small inventory that I had bought with a cash gift that somebody had given me, one of my old bosses. And I would drive past there because I started as a side business whilst I was working. I drive past there every day from work and I'd come home and then I'll call my mom and be like, oh my God, these guys did this, these guys have that. And she'd be like, you are comparing a 6-month-old business to a 30-year-old legacy business.
Intergenerational business.
Like, will you just calm down? And that's when I stopped and I was like, actually, you're right, Mom. And I did see your growth. And I don't know why I'm trying to rush it. So that really helped me put things in perspective. And she's always been like my anchor. And since then, I've just accepted the fact that you have to go through you can't cheat the journey. You can't just come. You can't cheat the process. Exactly. You can't cheat it. And he allowed me to appreciate it better because I saw the process work for her. And for me now, I know that by the will of Allah, if I do everything I'm supposed to do, inshallah, if it's meant to be, then it will work out.
And I know we've been talking about like faith-driven businesses and building for the Muslim market. But for me, it always comes across as a seasonal markets, if we could call it that. Like it's in Ramadan that, things start coming up, whether it's on TV, whether it's, shows that you're seeing on TV or the Ramadan hampers or all of this other stuff. It feels like it's at certain periods, whether it's Eid or it's Ramadan or it's something tied to a festivity. But your business isn't built that way. I mean, the very nature of the business anyway isn't built that way. Yeah. But how do you get yourself out of that mindset of like approaching business, even though it's for a faith-based market? How do you go outside of the seasons? How do you sort of like establish a business that people can relate to all year round?
I mean, what you said is exactly the biggest misconception that people have about faith-driven business, and I can see why people have it, because there's already, you see that extra activity around Ramadan, around Eid, around Hajj. But the truth is, with any other industry, you have peak seasons and you have off seasons. So for gifting companies, for example, if you talk to most of them, they make a significant amount of their cash or of their revenue during like Christmas holidays. People release like the holiday calendars and all these things. So just like with every business, an Islamic business does have seasons. Yes, we have 3 peak seasons. We have Ramadan, we have Eid, and then we have Hajj, where people look for like Hajj resources, products like ihram, pocket prayer mats and things like that. But outside of that, it takes me back to my earlier question where I had said that, my earlier comment where I said that Islam is a way of life. If you approach Hadiya or any Islamic business from that angle, then you're missing out on so much, because people fast round the clock every year. Some people fast. My grandfather has fasted every Monday and Thursday since I was born. He's now 101 years old. He breaks his fast with dates. So you can't tell me that dates are only for Ramadan. People eat dates for different things. So I know non-Muslims who use dates for sweetening their drinks, for health reasons. People use black seed oil. People dress modestly all year round. You don't only dress modestly during Ramadan. Yes, more people do for people who don't normally dress modest. But if you're someone
for non-Muslims,
exactly,
some people take it as a way of life.
Exactly. So if your clothing is the Islam is your identity. There are certain things that, as a woman, for example, being visibly Muslim, you do all year round. You wear your hijab. You take your kids to the beach. You wear a bikini. You read books with your children. You read storybooks about the prophets. You read those all year round. Yes, people do it more in Ramadan because the way that the society, unfortunately, is pushing things is that during a season, everybody pushes this more. So even non-Islamic brands then come up with like their Eid collections and things like that. So yeah, it's a capitalist society. But for us, Islam is at our core, and we know that there's so much more that we can do outside of Ramadan, that we need to ensure that people are just able to live their lives as Muslims and get everything that they need all year round. It doesn't have to be just Ramadan hampers or Ramadan gifts. You can read books, you can read Quran, you can give prayer mats as normal gifts. We've had customers do party packs for their kids, like Islamic products. So the market is massive.
Yeah.
It's just, we just need to change our mindset and stop thinking that Muslims are only Muslims during Ramadan or during Eid, because we aren't. At least the majority of Muslims aren't. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. And it leads me to like the next. Oh, fun facts, by the way.
Okay.
When we're talking about seasonal and people doing things, and you mentioned Hajj, I bought my Umrah guide book from Hadiya.
Oh, nice.
2 months before I went on Umrah.
Exactly.
Yes, I understand what you mean completely. So when I look at the journey, and I'm manifesting this, that inshallah one day we're going to be talking about the Hadiya business model at Harvard Business School.
Inshallah.
So here's the thing. I looked at just the progress and the growth that you've made. As I said, I've been patronizing. Again, it goes to what we said about motherhood. I have been buying stuff from Hadiya since I had, my son.
Yes, sir.
So for over 5 years, I've been buying stuff from Hadiya, right? When I look at just how you've progressed, and it's gone beyond Hadiya NG, and now you're trying to establish a marketplace to connect, Muslims to Islamic vendors across Africa.
Yeah,
that is a huge, ambitious target.
Yeah.
And when we were chatting earlier, I know you're still in the early stages of this, but what has that process been like? I have the unfortunate habit of asking 2-in-1 questions. But so on the one hand, how has that process been like, scaling that vision, expanding that vision to this significantly larger goal? And then secondly, what is that process? Because I see you do like all those pitches and all those whatever thorns that you're always posting about. But yeah, what has that been like?
First of all, there's no day that I haven't woken up in the past 6 months and been like, who sent me? Because honestly,
like, who actually sent you?
Yeah, who actually sent me? And honestly, like, it's crazy because the first time we actually pitched the Hadiya marketplace idea was in Jordan in November 2024. And alhamdulillah, we actually got a Startup Recognition Award. I think we were the only MENA startup at that startup village in Arabia.
MENA, that's like Middle East
and Northern Africa. Okay. So obviously I came from Nigeria and we were like the only ones. In fact, the whole conference, maybe I saw like 3 or 4 Black Africans or dark-skinned people in the whole conference. So yeah, so this was the first time we pitched that. And since that day up until literally today, every day I sit down and I rack my brain, like I try to go back into that moment where the whole marketplace idea came. Like I literally rack my brain and I sit some days in my prayer area. I'm like, how did this thing come up? Who sent me? Why did it get in my head? And why can't I get it out? And literally I have that conversation with myself every day and I can't get it out of my head. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's been a very tough journey. And I appreciate the fact that we could have stayed as a single e-commerce brand and probably grown in that trajectory. But I still always tell myself after each of my very trying to rack my head and think back sessions that I have with myself, because I'm a weird person.
No, we're all weird.
Exactly. I always sit back with this I don't know if it's a hadith, but it's a story that has come up in many lectures that I watched, like Islamic lectures, where they tell you that if an idea that's good pops in your head, it's a whisper from an angel. If it's something that will lead you to good, and you should run with it. If it's something that's bad, it's from shaitan. So you ignore it. So I keep saying that, yeah, Allah, you've put this in my head, because the fact that it's just living rent free and refuses to go it means that this is the trajectory you want me to go. Now that you've put it in, just facilitate it for me, purify my intention so that I never feel like this is me and I'm the one that came up with it. And that's something I pray about every day, because especially in this world now where people expect you to build in the open, be visible, tell your story. And then once you start getting that awareness or that recognition and people are calling you to speak, it's so easy for all those things to get into your head. And I'm a huge fan of Mohammed Faris, the Productive Muslim Company guy. I remember in the book, The Baraka Effect, he talks about how sometimes when he goes to give speeches, as soon as he's finished, he leaves the stage. He doesn't even want to see the applause because he doesn't want it to get in his head.
He has to go through that.
And it's so easy. Like, we're not perfect. We're humans. We will always sort of find ourselves in positions where we attribute certain things to ourselves. So I always tell myself it's one of my constant prayers to, Allah, don't let this thing get to my head. Purify my intentions behind it. Don't let my ego get in the way, because honestly, I don't know where it came from, but I've accepted that it came from him. And I'm just running with it. I mean, there's also the technical, like, people asking for things, people asking us to stock things, and us realizing that actually people want an outlet for their products, because there's so many people who are creating amazing products for Muslims. And unlike being abroad where you can easily go and sell on Etsy,
we don't have that channel to just enter the market. Yeah,
you don't have that channel. And one can argue that you have Jumia and Konga, but Jumia and Konga are not targeting Muslims. It's just a huge e-commerce marketplace, and the Islamic products can get lost.
Yeah.
So you can be on the platform for years and maybe make 1 or 2 sales. So for us, it's supposed to be an outlet to bring Muslim buyers and sellers together, and inshallah allow more faith-driven commerce to happen more frequently and more easily, and less friction in the way people like transact in the halal e-commerce space.
Yeah, inshallah. Still on that journey in terms of like scaling to Hadiya Souq, what has the process been like? Because that has to require significant capital.
Yeah.
To expand. What has that been like? But that's even the second phase of your journey, because even what you've been able to achieve with Hadiya itself.
Yeah.
I imagine that at the beginning maybe there was like some bootstrapping and all that, but it does take, a certain level as well to be able to achieve what you had with that business before you then thought, let's expand.
Mm-hmm.
What has that process been like? Because we have various arguments around capital. We say that it's hard for women to access financing, but I think it's even doubly hard for Muslim women. I don't know if that's an assumption I'm making, because I like to think that people invest in things because they know it will make them money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give you money because you're a Muslim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, I don't know if I wouldn't give you money because you're a Muslim.
I'm glad you brought that up, and it's not you're not wrong. It's, if you add so they're like, for me, there's several layers. There's the women layer, there's the black layer, then there's the Muslim layer. And I'm not talking from a mindset that maybe I have something in my head and it's not reality. I have experienced it. I've attended lots of like investor conferences. I go for all these startup conferences. I've been told, get a non-black founder that's male, even if they're just on your table, but just to have them on your pitch deck.
They don't have to say anything.
The Kenyans call it, I think they call it umvunzu as a service or something.
Umvunzu.
I think it's a Kenyan word. I can't remember how.
Like you can pay someone just to come and
it's like it's like a slang. So it's like a white person as a service on your pitch deck. So they don't really bring any value beyond their skin color. And then when investors see that, they're like, oh, okay, we can invest. And it happens. So I've had people tell me that. I've had people tell me to get a male co-founder. And I don't mind having a male co-founder, but it can't be because they're male. It has to be because they bring value, because we're aligned, because they see what we're trying to build and they share the vision. But if I go out to simply look for a male co-founder just because I'm trying to get funds from somebody, then for me, like, I don't need funds from that person. Because if you really believe in the vision and the business, then you shouldn't put all this superficial, as I see it, caveats on things. Women are doing amazing things around the world, and these things shouldn't be happening anymore. But unfortunately,
they are.
Yeah. And then the final one is the faith one, which it took me a while to accept, but I've accepted it. So I'll give you an example. When a couple of months ago, I had applied to a very popular accelerator by a foreign VC, and I made it to the final partner stage. And then I pitched Hadiya Marketplace. And halfway through my pitch, the guy literally stopped me. The partner stopped me, and he said, "Look, you sound exactly like the kind of person I want to invest in. But would you consider coming on the program with another business idea?" And then I said, "Why?" He's like, "Because I can't invest in a faith-based business, but I like you. So join the program and do another business." I said, "I'm not going to leave what I'm passionate about just because of your program or to get access to investors. I'm not looking for investors just to make money. I'm looking for investors to grow what I'm passionate about. So if my coming on board means dropping Hadiya, then I don't want it." And we agreed to part ways, and I parted ways with them. But I didn't take it personal. And then after that,
it boggles your mind, though.
It does, but I mean, you can't blame them as well, because after GITEX, we did the pitch where we won the category for, I think it was Martech and Creative Economy category. And one of the investors who was there reached out to me on LinkedIn and then interestingly said, "Have you heard of this company?" which was the company that I had spoken to before. And then I said, "Yes, I have." He's like, "Okay, I'm like a head there, and we would
like to have you.
Wait, we'd like to have you on the program." And then I go, "Actually, I have tried to get in, but I was told that you have a policy where you don't invest in anything religion or politics." And the person goes, "Oh, actually, that's true." And that was the end of that. So I know that politics and religion is touchy. So I accept the fact that people have guidelines, because once you align with, they don't want to seem like they're aligning with one religion and then they're not aligning with the other. I don't get it. Same with politics, but it's the way the capitalist society works.
It's what you said earlier, though, about you can't take people out of, like, you cannot separate. I get why it's tidy and it seems tidier and, nicer to just, but ultimately you're dealing with people and the entire value system that they come with, right? Even if we want to talk about, and this is an analogy I've made in the past. So the way we have, international development organizations or NGOs who are doing stuff in here or concerned about the SDGs, but you want to talk to people solely about these things that you're interested in. You don't want to touch on religion. You don't want to. And like, how exactly do you want to get through to people who are operating on a different value system than you're on?
Exactly.
But yeah.
And it's what's happening with Gaza and what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. I mean, you see brands who are aligning with Palestine and then people who are boycotting certain brands because they're Israeli brands. And you can then see where a VC or an investor may try to stay neutral because they don't want to seem like, oh, if I invest in this person, they're pro-Palestine, then it means I'm automatically anti-Israel. So I get that it can be a bit touchy, but what that has shown me personally is that perhaps we then need more Muslim or Islamic VCs. We then need to put our money where our faith is. And build our own community where we can invest in businesses that are aligned with our faith and try to push that, because we see this with other faiths. You see this in the Jewish community in the UK.
And they're not apologetic about it.
Unapologetic. And that this is how they continue to grow. So we then need to decide that we need to stand up for ourselves and create systems that allow us to thrive as well and stop asking for a seat on other people's table. That's the way I've seen it. I
love the gems. And the one thing I love the most about these conversations, the gems that people just drop. Like, Stop asking for a seat on other people's tables.
That's
that
what
needs
I've
to be
got
framed. It's on my wall. But yeah, no, and it's a really valid point. And what you were saying earlier as well about the Baraka effect, not just the book, but like the Baraka effect generally in your business. When you leave something for the sake of Allah, He definitely replenishes it and gives you something better.
Yeah.
Have you seen that since, in your business, but especially since launching the marketplace?
I've seen it every day.
Yeah.
Like,
because you've spoken about opportunities that you've missed, in quotes, because of that. But what about the things that have come to you, Baraka, that you've earned as a result of pursuing this path?
Honestly, I can't even, you know how they say, which of the favors of your Lord can I, like, I can't quantify. So many things happen, and I have a lot of these how did we do these moments, like, and I know that it just comes from Allah. There's so many, so I've stopped seeing those things as missed opportunities. I see them as an opportunity to realign with my faith and Allah's way of nudging me towards what will be better for me, because He is the best of planners. I remember sharing you spoke earlier about how something like a tech-enabled platform and how we're trying to scale is very capital intensive. And I spoke to my brother, who I think is very wise and he's very much into his deen. And then he reminded me that I should look at the story of Chris Blauvelt, the Launch Good the Launch Good founder. And I'd never actually stopped to think how he started. And he was like, it was the same thing for him. He was launching a platform where Muslims are able to like raise funds to finance causes for the Ummah. And he went through a journey where initially like no one was ready to invest in him. And he just kept pushing, and now look at where Launch Good is. So he's like, honestly, don't see these closed doors or these opportunities that seem to be working for everybody but they're not available to you as a setback. Just see it as Allah ensuring that you don't get distracted and you stay in line with what your faith and your values aligns with, and the right opportunity will come to you. And that's just my approach to it now.
Yeah.
So I don't really see them as missed opportunities. For me, it's just like, it didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. So, yeah.
Okay. So, I have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Hadiya related.
Okay.
If Hadiya Souq was a person, how would you describe her?
That's easy. Intentional.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Intentional.
What is the funniest customer request you ever received?
This is tough. And this one is tough because I haven't done customer service for probably 3 years.
Yeah, but I'm sure that your people will probably tell you if it was that.
Well, they tell me things that are going wrong and then they escalate it to me. Well, funny. Let me see if they've told me anyone recently. Funny request. Okay, there was once that apparently someone asked for spiritual oil. If we sell spiritual oil. We're like, what was that?
But did they specify what type of spiritual oil?
So they asked for black seed oil and spiritual oil.
Because I've heard somebody refer to Kaya Mata as spiritual attraction oil.
I don't.
There are different types of spirits. Yeah, okay. What has surprised you the most since launching the marketplace?
So many things. It's been tough. I think the hardest part has been putting together a core team. And when I say core team, I mean core team on a strategy level. And
I think that's a struggle that most founders can relate to.
And I feel like it's more of a struggle for a faith-based business like Hadiya, because I've had people recommend non-Muslims for certain positions. And I've always gone back with the fact that I'm very okay with working with non-Muslims. In fact, my sister is a Muslim. And she's my only sister. We're very close. And our graphics designer, for example, I've worked with him since 2011 in my other businesses. He's not Muslim as well. But it's a very, like, graphic design, you design what you're being asked to design.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like strategy, core team level,
you need to understand market.
You need to understand not just the market, but the religion that you're trying to push out, and you need to buy into it.
Yeah.
So it's been a struggle finding a core team at that level.
Why though? Where are all the Muslim minds in the Ummah? It's something I can relate to, and sometimes I wonder, do you ever feel guilty when you then, go with the non-Muslim who's available because you're struggling to find?
I don't, because the same way we don't want to discriminate against, the same way we say that, okay, I'm not just going to give you money because you're Muslim. You have to pitch something that I see value in.
Mm-hmm.
It should be the same way that I wouldn't just hire you because you're Muslim. Yes, being a Muslim helps, but you have to be ready to do the work.
Yeah.
And you have to deliver. So that your Muslim may give you an edge in terms of the fact that maybe you get called for an interview and you're considered, but doesn't guarantee you the job. And even if you do get the job, if you blag your way through the interview, it doesn't mean that a month or 2 months or 3 months after, I can't be like, actually, you're not delivering and I need to let you go. And it's nothing personal. We're running a business. We have to manage our costs, and we have to make sure that our resources are giving us the returns that we need. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Marketplace. Okay. When did you launch?
4th of September.
Oh, so you're just about to hit your 2-month anniversary.
Yeah.
Whoa. And how many vendors do you have listed on now?
As yesterday when I checked, I believe we were at 30 vendors.
That's huge. Don't do that. It's huge. Claim it. Claim it. Yes. Alhamdulillah. It's no less than 2 months. You're not, and I mean, you're getting there, but it's not like some of the well-established e-commerce platforms already. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's great. And in terms of like the vendor spread, where are you Lagos based? Do you have people outside of?
So for now, we have interest from, lots of states outside of Lagos, but we've actually closed it to non-Lagos based vendors because we're still working on the operational side of things. So for now, we've only opened it up for Lagos-based vendors or vendors who are happy to send their products to us on consignment. So what that is, you know how you have like Hadiya fulfilled and seller fulfilled.
Yeah.
If you want us to fulfill for you, you can send us the product. So it means you don't have to be in Lagos because your products will be in Lagos anyway in our warehouses.
Yeah.
So that's something that we are opening up to everyone. So now we have like 30 vendors who are, I believe of that 30, 29 are Lagos based and 1 is in Kwara State who sent us their products.
That's great. And if like for vendors that want to get listed on the platform, what's the process for that?
So for vendors who want to get listed on the platform, they go on the platform homepage, which is vendor.hadiyasouq.africa. Or if they go to our regular website, they see a Sell on Hadiya button. And then they click on it, they can read about what the platform is about and just get started. So getting started is you put your company name, your email address, and a password. And then you sign up, but you don't get access immediately. We then get the request, and we do research about the brand and make sure that it's somebody that's aligned with. Then once we accept you as a vendor, you can then go on, fill up your dashboard and start uploading products. And even after you upload the products, they don't go live immediately. We still do a second level of quality control. Look at the pictures, look at the products, look at product description. So we've had... and I think we're still learning this part because we've had vendors just put products and maybe one word product description. I'm like,
I used to that.
You can't do that.
This is the stupidest. What's it called? Correlation. But it's like how you struggle to get people to write full sentences, much less a paragraph in their dating profiles.
Okay, I don't know dating profiles because I never did online dating.
I will never admit on air that I am actually on the platform, on those platforms. But it's crazy. Like, it's either you leave it blank or
for product
like a word. I'm like, what?
Leave it blank.
What?
So we don't allow people to leave it blank because it's an e-commerce platform. You also have to think about SEO and searchability.
Yeah,
you need to describe your experience in a way that people understand what you're selling.
Yeah.
And we look at what you've written and what you're trying to sell. We're also very particular about being ethical. Don't misrepresent your products. So those little things we're not taking, because our platform
throwing shade at a certain tea platform that I know. But continue.
Yeah, so in terms of like making sure that people are not misrepresenting their products, we don't want, because our platform reputation would be on the line, because if you receive a product, all you know is you bought it from Hadiya Souq.
Yeah.
You may not necessarily pay attention to the particular vendor on Hadiya Souq that you got it from. It's a case of, I got this thing on Hadiya Souq and it was crap. And you see how people go on TikToks or Instagram now, they do what I ordered versus what I got. We don't want our brand to even come up in those situations. So we're also quite particular in ensuring that we maintain that quality that Hadiya is known for from when we were a single e-commerce brand. And people are trusting that any vendor that we bring on board would maintain that quality or exceed it, but not go below it.
Yeah.
So that's really important for us.
Are you delivering out of Lagos though? Like, are you delivering internationally?
Everywhere we get an order from international. We have sometimes we get orders from Dubai, Egypt, Uganda. I mean, some of them we've not been able to close because of cash and payment system within African countries is a bit dicey. So if someone is unable to pay in dollars, then we can't take their local currency, because converting it to Naira, you have to jump through so many hoops. For some people who have PayPal, then they can pay in dollars and then we send their products to them.
Yeah.
So that also works.
When I'm sitting down and I'm hearing you talk so calmly about this, what you're doing essentially is like breaking down the market entry barriers to an entire market across the continent or beyond.
Well, that's the goal.
You're already doing it as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'll be walking with a poster on my head that says, do business with me to reach a global market. No, the service you're offering is amazing. Imagine like as a regular Kifaya who's making abayas in Lagos and not sure how to deliver to customers in I don't know where. Finland. No, that just came to my mind. I have no idea. And then to be able to have a platform that then bridges that gap for you.
Yeah.
So may Allah make it even bigger than you could possibly imagine. And as you said, also purify the intention is something that I can relate to, because it's a prayer I'm always making as well around that intention. There's been a lot of talk in recent years, it's taking longer than it should, frankly, about that intra-African marketplace, how we facilitate the movement of goods and services and just make it easier, to be honest, for people and goods to move through Africa. And then when you then contrast that to, what you're doing with Hadiya Souq, how do you envision, what do you envision when you think about the future? Let's start with Africa, because that's your immediate target. What do you think about the future when you think about 5 years, 10 years down the line? What does an Africa that goods can easily move around for the Muslim market, what does that look like to you?
Okay, so I think that's actually at the core of everything that we're trying to do, because it's one thing for people to have a platform where they can actually list products and you give them visibility and other people know that these things exist. But to actually transact, it's still very dicey within African countries. And it's two things. It's the logistics and the payments. Now, I'm sure you've been seeing these PAPs that the central bank is working with other central banks in other African countries. It's like a payment system. It's an acronym PAPPS system. But what they're trying to do is...
Sorry.
What they're trying to do is to ensure that, to make it such that if you were in Ivory Coast, for example, and wanted to pay in, I think they spend francs or CFA.
It's a French country. I don't know the currency, but
so let's say Ghana, for example. If you're in Ghana, you're trying to buy something from Hadiya Souq and you want to pay in cedis. Now, the process that your cedis gets converted to naira is it gets converted to dollars first, then. And so because of all the fees and charges in the process of transferring all the money to a receiving bank, to this and this and that, a lot of the banks don't, like a lot of the online payment system, they just don't accept it. So you can't even try to pay in cedis. It will not accept your cedis card. So what this PAPS is now trying to do is to work with central banks in these countries and other banks who have signed up to it, facilitated by their own central bank, to make it such that you can pay in cedis and I will receive naira without it first getting translated to dollars and taking off all the friction in between. But as far as I know, they've been talking about this for about 4 years now. But in terms of the actual execution, it hasn't actually come to realize. But this year it started. So I've been following updates and I've been seeing how I think Zenith Bank is now accepting PAPS payments. But in terms of how it works in my own business, from taking money on Paystack or Flutterwave directly on the website, I haven't seen this execution yet, but it could be my understanding of it. And that also takes me to the fact that I attended one of their sessions recently and I raised this question, and one of their responses was that they accepted that they haven't done enough work in educating the stakeholders in how this thing would work and how they can use it in their business, because everything still seems to be very policy level and government, like they fly around all the
critical to like that,
but it's critical. But how we actually do it, it's not clear to a lot of us, at least not to me. So I haven't seen it materialize. Then secondly, with the logistics is there. It's not an issue. The problem is the cost. So now, last Eid, for example, we got a lot of Eid box orders from Ghana, and what it costs to send something to Ghana is like 5 times as much what it costs to send that same thing to London or to Dubai. And Ghana is literally at our border. So I don't understand what's going on. I know that the infrastructure...
allow us to open a Ghana office. But that's crazy.
And it's not just Ghana, it's all the African countries. So the infrastructure and the way we transact, like
even just the cost of flying to some African countries,
it's ridiculous. So we have, I feel like the government still has a lot of work to do in ensuring that they put the right infrastructure and the right platforms to facilitate these things. And I know that that's what the Intra-Africa Trade Committee has been trying to do over the last couple of years. But the speed with which we're seeing results, I still feel like it's not there yet, because the core of the problem has not been resolved. So yes, our goal is to become that African platform where Muslims across Africa can shop. But I'm not trying to live in a bubble. The reality of that is going to be very difficult. And we're starting in stages. And I know it will take some time, but I'm also seeing the steps being taken to ensure that that would happen. So right now we're starting with Nigeria. Focuses on Nigeria. We're able to dispatch to neighboring countries as well via road, which is something that we've done in the past. And yes, we also do ship to other parts of Africa for the more affluent consumer who don't bat an eyelid when you tell them $100 for delivery of a product that it costs us $45. They just want it and they want it. But those consumers are not the most common ones. And we want to be able to do this for everybody, not just the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oyinda,
yeah.
I do not want this conversation to end. But we have to go. It's been so, oh my goodness, I have enjoyed this a little bit too much, if I'm being honest. But thank you so much for being open and just sharing your experiences and your knowledge around this, because that's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think a lot of people are, but it's such a knowledge gap. You know, being able to navigate business and entrepreneurship, but from the perspective of someone who shares your faith or is also, focused on faith-driven entrepreneurship. So thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And to you out there, I hope you take this as your prompt that you should never have to sacrifice one over the other. You can be unapologetically Muslim in your way of life and still make a huge buck out of business. Amen. So until next time, like, share, subscribe. Please send this to those Muslim tech bros. That sister out there that's trying to start, her thing. Don't wait for permission and do not ask for a seat at other people's tables. Enjoy.